Together we will launch a new era of safety, prosperity, and freedom for citizens of every race, religion, color, and creed. The discord and division in our society must be healed. We must heal it quickly. As Americans, we are bound together by a single fate and a shared destiny. We rise together or we fall apart. I am running to be president for all of America, not half of America.
Welcome to another riveting episode of Nations and Issues on Starthrillerz. I'm your host, Jerry Dan Goldman. And today we dive into a day that will forever be etched in America's history books. Buckle up, folks, because this story has all the makings of a political thriller. Saturday, July 13, 2024 started as just another day, but it quickly turned into a momentous event that rocked the nation. A day of fear and bravery, of loss and triumph. For months, political analysts and vigilant watchers have sounded the alarm about potential threats to Donald Trump.
And it was a providential moment. If he had turned to look at that big screen, and when he was turned, the bullet would have hit him here. When he turned back, it hit him here. That's how close he came to being killed. And I think we need to understand that this was providential, and he reacted appropriately. But I also will tell you, he has been vilified by Joe Biden and the Democrats and the left wing more than any president since Abraham Lincoln. And this was a political act. It was a deliberate act. And as you know, because we've talked about it off air, I've said for 4 months that when all the legal baloney fails and when they begin to realize he is going to win, that violence is the next thing because they're that desperate.
Because so many of us feared this. We feared this was going to happen, and we were poo-pooed. You're conspiracy theorists. What are you talking about? I kid you not. I kid you not when I say that I just did an interview. I think it was Russell Brand, and I was asked, who do you want to be the VP for Donald Trump? And I said, I want him to pick somebody that is so America first that they won't bother assassinating him. And I said, I know that sounds like a conspiracy theory, but I believe that the deep state is this desperate to get rid of him. And I'm fearful that if you pick someone like a Nikki Haley, they'll just kill him. That's what I actually said. I actually said this during an interview. I think it was Russell Brand. It may have been someone else. I've been doing so many interviews lately. But this is what we feared. And again, we were called conspiracy theorists for believing this because, you know, some people are still living within this illusion that everything is totally normal in America and really Trump guy bad, orange man bad, everybody else is just crazy and becoming a conspiracy theorist. No, we are not crazy. We are not becoming a conspiracy theorist. We are recognizing reality. And the reality is they want him gone. They want him gone. They want Donald Trump gone.
Are they going to let Trump be president?
No, of course. I mean, look, if, they protested him, they called him names. He won anyway. They impeached him twice on ridiculous pretenses. They fabricated a lot about what happened on January 6th in order to impeach him again. It didn't work. He came back. Then they indicted him. It didn't work. He became more popular. Then they indicted him 3 more times, and every single time his popularity rose. So if you begin with criticism, then you go to protest, then you go to impeachment, now you go to indictment, and none of them work, what's next? I mean, graph it out, man. We're speeding toward assassination, obviously.
I was going viral on the internet, telling all of you. I said they try and cancel you. If cancellation fails, they try and put you in jail. And if that fails, they can kill you. I was saying this last year. I was saying it after I rejected their money. I rejected their money to sell my soul, and I started saying on every podcast, they're gonna hit me with a bullshit case, they're gonna try and put me in jail. And when I got out of jail, I said on every podcast, I'm uncomfortable because I know I'm on my life. Look what they've done to Trump. Look at it. They canceled him, they deleted him from everything. Nobody cared, it didn't work. They tried to put him in jail, that's failed. Now they killed him. You get 3 lives against these people. The second you've been canceled, next is a case. And if you beat that case, they're gonna put a bullet in you. It happens every time. I don't care what side of the political spectrum you're on. You better pray for Donald Trump because he is fighting evil. You do not want the people who are against Trump in charge of anything, especially not your life. I don't care what you call yourself Democrat, Republican, no matter what it is, you need to pray for Donald Trump and pray for him right now. He's the last hope for Western civilization as you know it. I promise you.
Their warnings crescendoed after Trump decisively outperformed Joe Biden in the last presidential debate, leaving the power that be desperate and unnerved.
Child care, elder care, making sure that we continue to strengthen our healthcare system, making sure that we're able to make every single solitary person eligible for what I've been able to do with the COVID. With dealing with everything we have to do with. Look, if we finally beat Medicare, I went to the.
People are taking to social media to call for Trump's assassination. Most recently, it was a BBC reporter who took to Twitter to write, "If I was Biden, I'd hurry up and have Trump murdered on the basis that he is a threat to America's security." That's David Aronovich. I mean, this is someone that people, obviously mostly in the UK, watch on the BBC and know him to be a household name, and here he is calling for the murder of Donald Trump, but he is just one of many. Check out this actress. She's from a show which you may or may not have heard from called Orange is the New Black. It was a pretty big mega series. Millions of people have watched it, and she decided to post this video on her social media calling on Biden to be that assassin.
Joe, you're a reasonable man. You don't want to do this, but here's the reality. This is a war. This is a war now, and we are fighting for our country. And these are going to take it away. They're going to take it away. Joe, you now have the right to take that Trump out. Take him out, Joe.
It's just unquestionable at this point that man cannot see public office again. He is not only unfit, he is destructive to our democracy, and he has to be eliminated.
And then, out of nowhere, the unthinkable happened. An attempt on Donald Trump's life.
You see something that said, take a look at what happened.
Chaos erupted as the security detail scrambled to protect him. Shots rang out, people screamed, and pandemonium ensued. In the end, 2 lives were lost, sadly. The suspected gunman and Corey Comparator, a devoted party supporter. Trump, though injured, survived the brutal attack, and a few others sustained injuries in the mayhem. Why did the security operatives fail to respond swiftly to alert calls from vigilant observers? And where were the snipers who should have neutralized the threat before any shots were fired?
We may not know the why for some time. But Tom, the question I have is how? How did the Secret Service allow someone to have a straight line of sight to a former president who may be the next president, that an AR-15 could reach when the Secret Service and law enforcement obviously knows? An AR-15, as we've reported time and time again through the years, is the weapon of choice of disturbed young men. And it's within range there. Why weren't there sharpshooters on top of that building? Why were people yelling for almost 90 seconds? There's a shooter on top of the building. What the hell was going on there? Here's where they're yelling. There's a shooter up there. And 90 seconds.
Right, we couldn't see him, but we could hear him. So we walked up, and probably 5 to 7 minutes of Trump speaking. I'm estimating here, I have no idea, but we noticed a guy crawling, bear crawling up the roof of the building beside us, 50 feet away from us. So we're standing there, we're pointing at the guy crawling up the roof.
And he had a gun, right?
He had a rifle. We could clearly see him with a rifle. Absolutely. We're pointing at him. The police are down there running around on the ground. We're like, hey man, there's a guy on the roof with a rifle. And the police were like, huh, what? Like they didn't know what was going on. We're like, hey, right here on the roof. We can see him from right here. We see him. He's crawling. And next thing you know, I'm thinking to myself, why is Trump still speaking? Why have they not pulled him off the stage? I'm standing there pointing at him for, 2 or 3 minutes. Secret Service is looking at us from the top of the barn. I'm pointing at that roof, just standing there like this. And next thing you know, 5 shots ring out.
I'm here to tell you why the shooting of President Donald Trump yesterday, without a doubt in my mind, was a planned and coordinated attack on the president inside our government, our local agency, or police force. Here's why. My name is Matthew Murphy, and I am a retired Green Beret, retired from the Special Forces Group, but I'm also a level 1 sniper, which means that I have graduated the highest level of training for snipers that you can do in special operations. Now, you're not going to tell me, I don't care who you are, don't listen to the media, nonsense anyways, I think most of us know that by now, that some 20-year-old kid that looks like he played Dungeons and Dragons in his mom's basement is trained on a gun, especially a sniper rifle like that, is a registered Republican, and then can access anywhere near the vicinity of that crowd, of that event, with him not dressed in a uniform and that sniper rifle. He was wearing American flag t-shirt and pants, and he had a rifle. You're going to tell me that kid went through all the levels of security, somehow got into the closest building to the president, then accessed the rooftop of the closest building to the president, then had the time to unpack his rifle, lay down in the prone, and then take 5 to 8 well-aimed shots at the president before he was decisively engaged by the Secret Service's counter sniper teams or a local police department. I don't know who they were, most likely police. You're going to tell me all that happened and a 20-year-old kid did that without it being heavily planned, coordinated, and people on the inside making it happen? There's absolutely no way possible that kid was able to get up there and take those shots at the president without a lot of internal help. So someone in that local or some people inside that local police department, agencies, or Secret Service is compromised and is a threat to our president.
When we go up as a counter sniper, we put together what we call range fans for our range card. We usually keep it right next to us. It's an overlay of the area, usually a satellite image, and it has our 100-yard line, our 200-yard line, our 300-yard line, and we identify the buildings and the areas for potential threat in those so that when you do identify a threat, you don't have to actually, what they call milling out, which is to determine the distance of that actual target. You have it within your range fan. You can quickly glance down and say, roughly 200. And you can dial your elevation, look at your windage, make your call, and then fire your shot. Look.
Despite the chaos, Trump showed immense courage in the face of apparent death threats. His resolve and composure during the attack have garnered widespread admiration and solidarity from supporters across the nation.
If you didn't believe in miracles before Saturday, you better be believing right now. Thank God Almighty that we live in a country that still believes in the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords, the Alpha and the Omega. And our God still saves, He still delivers, and He still sets free. Because on Saturday, the devil came to Pennsylvania holding a rifle, but an American lion got back up on his feet and he roared!
On that Halloween day, Solidarity poured in for Trump from every corner. People united in their support, condemning the senseless act of violence and standing by their candidate in his time of need.
But I will say a few words about the attempt on the life of former President Trump over the weekend. As we all know, it was a heinous, horrible, and cowardly act. My husband Doug and I are thankful he was not seriously injured. That day, as soon as we saw what was happening, we said a prayer for his well-being.
Barack Obama.
There's absolutely no place for political violence in our democracy, although we don't yet know exactly what happened. We should all be relieved that former President Trump wasn't seriously hurt and use this moment to recommit ourselves to civility and respect into our politics. Michelle and I are wishing him a quick recovery. Yeah.
The president has released a statement. Pat, here it is.
I briefed on the shooting at Trump rally in Pennsylvania. Grateful to hear he's safe and doing well. I'm praying for him and his family and for all those who were at the rally as we wait further information. Jill and I are grateful to the Secret Service for getting him to safety. There's no place for this kind of violence in America. We must unite as one nation to condemn it.
Now, let's delve into the latest developments surrounding this incident that continue to unfold. In the aftermath of the attack, a comprehensive investigation has been launched. Authorities are piecing together the events leading up to the incident, scrutinizing security footage and interviewing witnesses. Early reports indicate that the suspected gunman may have had ties to extremist groups, but these remains under investigation. In response to the security lapse, the Security Service and other protective agencies are conducting a thorough review of their protocols. Immediate measures have been implemented to bolster security for all high-profile figures, ensuring such a breach does not happen again. Politically, the attack has sent shockwaves through both parties. Trump supporters are rallying stronger than ever, using these incidents as a rallying cry against what they perceive as a corrupt establishment.
Thank you very much. Thank you very, very much. Wow.
So I watched the video of what happened in Butler, Pennsylvania about 50 times. I think I was one of about 8 billion people around the world who watched it. And the more I watched it, the more it struck me that everything was different after that moment. Everything. And this convention is different. The nation is different. The world is different. Donald Trump is different. When he stood up after being shot in the face, bloodied, and put his hand up, I thought at that moment, that was a transformation. This was no longer a man. Well, I think it was divine intervention. But the effect that it had on Donald Trump, he was no longer just a political party's nominee or a former president or a future president. This was the leader of a nation. And I think there's a difference. I've spent most of my life in Washington, where the president is at the top of the pyramid. Everyone wants to be the president. But if you think about it, the presidency comes with great power, obviously. But if you think about it, that is a title that is bestowed by a process of some sort that can be subverted. And in the end, it does not confer by itself, as no title does, legitimacy. Just because you call yourself the president doesn't mean that much inherently. I can call my dog the CEO of Hewlett-Packard. It doesn't mean she is. No, it's true. And you hate to say it, but it is also true, as a fact, that you could take, a mannequin, a dead person, and make him president. No, you could. I'm just saying theoretically possible. With enough cheating, that could happen. But being a leader is very different. It's not a title. It's organic. You can't name someone a leader. A leader is the bravest man. that's who the leader is. That is true in all human organizations. This is a law of nature. And in that moment, Donald Trump, months before the presidential election, became the leader of this nation. That was the most obvious to me. And I have to say, you know, I think it changed him. I reached out to Trump within hours of it that night. And what he said to me that night, having just been shot in the face, he said not a single word about himself. He said only how amazed he was and how proud he was of the crowd, which didn't run. And I thought two things. The first thing I thought was, well, of course they didn't run. His courage gave them heart. A leader's courage gives courage to his people. And the second thing I thought was, this is the selfish guy I've been hearing about for 9 years? Really? Not a word about himself? About his people, period.
Meanwhile, Biden's camp is facing intense scrutiny and criticism from various quarters, questioning the administration's ability to ensure safety and stability.
Even two on this. Look how long. Look how long Donald Trump is exposed. What are these Secret Service people doing? Look how long he is exposed to a second, third, fourth shooter. Show that video again. A second, third, fourth shooter. I mean, the thing is, the Secret Service has always been trained. When you hear a shot, when you have a threat, get on top of the president, get on the top of the person that you were protecting, and stay there. Here, look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 seconds, I'm counting right there, Tom, before the edit. Who trained these people? How could anybody in a leadership position in the Secret Service still have a job this morning?
The Secret Service have now released their preliminary report and admitted that in Butler, Pennsylvania, for 26 minutes, I'd said a couple minutes for videos I'd seen, the shooter was on top of the roof. Police went up to see, he aimed a gun at them, and they ran away and asked permission of what to do. This is a paralyzed government, a bureaucrat.
The public's reaction has been overwhelming. Social media platforms are ablaze with messages of support for Trump, condemning the violence and calling for justice. Rallies and vigils are being organized nationwide to honor the victims and stand in solidarity with those affected. As for Trump, we have received updates on his condition. Despite sustaining injuries, he is recovering well and remains in high spirits.
Friends, delegates, and fellow citizens, I stand before you this evening with a message of confidence, strength, and hope. 4 months from now, we will have an incredible victory, and we will begin the 4 greatest years in the history of our country. Together we will launch a new era of safety, prosperity, and freedom for citizens of every race, religion, color, and creed. The discord and division in our society must be healed. We must heal it quickly. As Americans, we are bound together by a single fate and a shared destiny. We rise together or we fall apart. I am running to be president for all of America, not half of America, because there is no victory in winning for half of America. So tonight, with faith and devotion, I proudly accept your nomination for President of the United States. Thank you.
Legal actions are also underway. The family of Corey Compretor, the lawyer supporter who lost his life, is pushing for a thorough investigation and justice. There are also calls for legislative changes to address the root cause of such violent acts and to improve public safety.
Now, in another interview with NBC that has just been released today, which is his first televised interview since Donald Trump was almost shot dead on stage, The president was happy to lecture the country on rhetoric, which is important. We need that message to be crystal clear, but refuses to apologise for the language he used in the days leading up to this assassination attempt.
Let's talk about the conversation this has started, and it's really about language, what we say out loud and the consequences of those. You called your opponent an existential threat. On a call a week ago, you said it's time to put Trump in the bullseye. There's some dispute about the context, but I think you appreciate that.
I didn't say crosshairs. I was talking about focus on. Look, the truth of the matter was, what I guess I was talking about at the time was, there was very little focus on Trump's agenda.
Yeah, the term was bullseye.
It was a mistake to use the word. I didn't say crosshairs. I meant bullseye. I meant focus on him.
These are just some of the latest developments in this ongoing story. We will continue to bring you the most up-to-date information as it becomes available. Stay tuned to Nations and Issues for all the latest updates. I'm Jerry Dan Goldman, and you've been watching Nations and Issues on Starthrillerz. Thank you for joining us. Until next time, stay informed, stay engaged, and stay safe.
Because you know what? Fear has been infectious in this country, but courage can be contagious too. That too is what it means to be an American. And you know what? If you're at home and you disagree with everything I just said, our message to you is this. We will still defend to the death your right to say it, because that is who we are as Americans. We are the country where we can disagree like hell and still get together at the dinner table at the end of it. That is the America I know. That is the America we miss. We do not have to be ancient Rome. We don't have to be this nation in decline. We can still be a nation in our ascent. A nation whose best days, not in some fake politician way, but in a true way, a nation whose best days are actually still ahead of us. Still on our way to that shining city on a hill, that country where no matter who you are, or where your parents came from, or what your skin color is, or how long your last name is, that you will still get ahead in this country with your own hard work, your own commitment, your own dedication, and that you know what? You are free to speak your mind at every step of the way. That is the American dream. That is what won us the American Revolution.